And we're back and we're live. We made it through. Lovely to see you all and thank you. Welcome to the event today and lovely to see you all piling into the room for our Careers kind of Hiring Partner webinar. And really happy to welcome the Access Group today. So Niall and Emily, I'll be introducing you both properly in a few moments while everyone gets settled. So look, we have an hour in the diary today, so we'll use our time really well, and it's obviously a really brilliant opportunity to be able to hear more about what is sorry, some background noise there. To be able to hear about what's going on, really significant hiring happening. So this is really exciting first visit from the Access Group. Obviously today is being recorded, so just to flag with anyone who might have to jump in and out of the event, it's going to be in the Careers Hub within a few hours. So don't worry, you'll be able to revisit any of this. And then obviously one other really quick thing, just in terms of Q&A, please, we've got loads of information here, so looking forward to hearing all the questions. We have the chat function, we can share our LinkedIn's on that, and then the Q&A, just if you have some questions for any of us on the panel or about the roles of the company and so on, try and keep them in the Q&A so that we can find them with ease and we won't miss them. And we will obviously leave some designated time at the end to kind of go through all of that. And that's it. And then just one really quick last thing, links for the roles that we're going to discuss today will be in the Job Alerts channel in Slack. So for anyone who wants to check them out in the coming days, they'll remain there and we'll keep them really visible. But look, I'm Jane. I think most people here have probably met me before, so I won't stay on me for too long. But we are joined by Niall Gillick and Emily Corkery from the Access Group. So welcome both. Thanks so much for your time.
Thank you.
Niall, will we start with you and just get a context of who you are in the Access Group, what you do, and then we'll go to Emily, and then we'll jump into some slides.
Absolutely. So yes, thank you so much for having us today. Very happy to be here. I'm sitting in a hallway because I couldn't find a meeting room here. I'm actually in our Loughborough office in England today.
Lovely.
And it's a busy place. It's a huge
I can see people pottering around behind you. Yeah.
So ignore them and look here. Look into my eyes. So yeah, I'm here in our headquarters, and my role is I'm director of support for something called our People division. It's our biggest division, financially and by headcount. So I basically operate a support team of approximately 140 people across several different disciplines, including, for example, something called XD, which Emily, I think, will talk to you all about a little later. And within that, we support customers on our payroll products, people performance products, HR products, and pension. Okay. So, you know, what I want people to understand from the very get-go is in these roles and in the type of support that we offer, you know, it's obviously our products. So there's a learning curve on learning those, but actually a background from a number of different industries is actually very interesting to us because the technical side we can teach you. It's the background and understanding you might have around payroll or hospitality or whatever it is. I'll cover it later. That's going to be good for us. I've been with Access all of 2.5 months.
A newbie.
A newbie. I'm from Cavan originally, but I've been living in Sweden for the last 17 years. I've worked for multiple multinational global companies, specializing in technical sales, support, customer success, onboarding, adoption. I build teams, I build customer journeys. I like to have fun when I'm at work, and I like to see people grow, and I like to see people develop. And my whole approach to hiring and building organizations and cultures is to leverage people's strengths. I think it's okay to work with your areas of development and make them better. But ultimately, I prefer to fast track that development by leveraging people's strengths and building on those. So maybe I should stop yammering on about myself and actually talk a little bit about the business now. So Jane, could you throw up the slides, or because I'm not sure I know how to do it?
Yeah, of course. I could do that here.
And says the man who runs technical support.
Don't worry, we can look after that. 1 second.
Great. And if people have questions, I don't know how this works. If we want to wait until, I think we wait until the end, or
yeah. So
okay.
everyone who's here has most likely been here before, and we have a nice format in that the questions are open there, so anybody can do that at any point. But we do always leave a certain amount of time at the end to go into the Q&A. So I suppose there's a lot of information to go through here, isn't there, for people to absorb.
There is, but I'll talk fast, move fast, and maybe we share the deck with anyone who wants it afterwards. But you can also reach out to Emily or myself, and we'll answer any questions after the fact as well.
Perfect.
All right. So the Axis Group, as I like to call it, the biggest company you've never heard of, because I didn't really know them up until I was approached. So Axis is the second biggest UK headquartered software company. It's quite a big organization. That number in the bottom left of 5,000 people is growing all the time. When I started, it was, and this is 2.5 months ago, it was about 4,500. So even in that 2.5 months, we've added that amount of people. So we are growing, and we are growing fast. We are one of the leading providers of business management software, predominantly operating in the UK, Ireland, and most recently in the Asia-Pac market. And we basically help customers across commercial and public sector and non-for-profit sectors become more productive and efficient by using our suites of products and our platform of products. We've been growing profitably for more than 16 years. We are a SaaS technology-focused business. We have 60,000 plus customers. And from an employee engagement point of view, we pride ourselves on the employee engagement, the employee experience that we provide to our employees. So that is actually surveyed on a monthly basis. And out of a score of 10, we land just above 9, 8.5 to 9 most of the time, which is a very brilliant score considering some of the places I've worked in before. And of course, we also survey our customers quite a lot as well. Our CSAT varies a little between division, of which we have 9, but typically it's in the high 8s, high 9s in some of those places as well.
Gosh.
So where are we? We are based physically. We have an office in Cork. We're actually in the process of moving to a brand new facility there, much more modern space. We have an office in Loughborough, UK, which is the headquarters where I'm sitting today, and it's a very nice office. We are down in Spain. We have a location in Romania. And as you can see from the map, we are in Kuala Lumpur, Penang, down in Australia, and over in New Zealand as well. So we have quite a broad reach. And of course, since COVID, like a lot of folks, we did have a remote strategy, but obviously that accelerated. So we have people sitting basically all over the world. So from an Irish and UK perspective, we don't hire to offices. You're contractually signed to an office, but as a remote employee. So at a glance, I'm not showing you all our divisions here, but it's just to give everyone a taste of some of the industry sectors that we're focused on. So we break ourselves down into divisions, which are essentially companies within the company. So we have a hospitality division, recruitment division. I'm sitting in the people division. And then we have horizontal solutions that run across those divisions. So you have specific people solutions, pay suite solutions, cloud hosting, ERP, etc. We took this same structure and we brought it to APAC a couple of years ago. So we found it so successful that we brought it down there. It's proving to also be successful down there as well. We've recently been working on our new product platform, which is something called Axis Workspace. So this is we have approximately 150 products in our portfolio. So with Axis Workspace, it's almost like a one-stop shop. So it's a platform as a customer you can go into, you can get access to all your people products, your hospitality products, your legal, etc., etc. So it's one place you go, and then you can basically unlock all these products within that specific sector, but also If you're a business that spans across multiple sectors, you have it all there in that one place. We are a culture that believes in giving back. A lot of the big corporations that I've worked for have similar corporate social responsibility programs as well. Access is a little unique in that, given our size, it's quite a substantial contribution that this company makes. So we set up the Access Foundation in 21 with a £10 million fund, which is a remarkable amount of money.
Yeah.
And last year we also raised more than for the last 3 years we've raised almost 650,000 for a couple of our chosen charities that we work with really directly, and we have great relationships with. Some of those include Bipolar UK and the Irish Cancer Society and National Deaf Children's Society. So we do a lot of work with these specific charities. As an employee, you get paid time and days to actually work with a charity of your choice, and there's various activities that you can get involved in. So it's really fantastic that a company not only supports financially, but makes us all aware of the struggles that some people have out there who are less fortunate than us, who are in a situation where they need help. You can learn about these charities, you can work more with these charities, and you can use your Access time to actually do something fun, engaging to help these charities as well. All right, the good stuff. So if we talk about technical support within the scope of this, we are part of something called the Customers for Life organization, and we are cross-functional. So here you see all our divisions in the background: payments, NPE, ERP, lots of abbreviations that mean nothing to anyone. But there are divisions. They're like our sectors. And in Customers for Life, we have our technical support function, which runs across all divisions.
Okay.
So we have people sitting in people servicing the product suite there. We have other people sitting in health and social care servicing our products there as well. We have a central operations team. So they basically help us build our reporting, our surveys for customers, give us visibility on customer feedback. So we close loops with customers every time they talk to us. We have a customer success management team. And I don't know if everyone is familiar with that function, but customer success is all about what it says on the tin, making our customers successful. So as a CSM, you are focused on customer outcomes. What is it they want to achieve by using our solutions? And we map our solutions to those outcomes so we can prove back to the customer that they're reaching their goals with us. And we also have escalation management, which is if things go wrong, well, maybe the communication needs to change, it becomes more urgent, so we roll with that. So obviously there's a career progression there. You start in technical support. Today we have 4 different levels of seniority. To me, I'm a little bit biased, but I think if anyone wants to understand any company's customers, any company's products, and how that company actually works and treats its customers, support is the place to go. Because you really have to get in under the hood. You have to understand how these products work. You get to talk to customers every single day, so you understand how good and bad it is for them as well. And you just get so much information, so much knowledge from those experiences, and that in terms of career, there are multiple paths you can then take, whether it be a technical path into a research and development organization, a technical path within customer success, technical account management, into people management, or into the more support side of things, customer care, and digital support, community management, all these great things. So it's quite a wide and varied span of career, and support really is the hub to actually pick up all that experience and springboard into the rest of the organization.
We've discussed this before, actually, with the audience that's here and maybe some students who weren't here. But we kind of lift the lid on a classic SaaS model to help people understand, what do these acronyms mean? Where do these teams lead, and how do they all interrelate? So it's, it really is the eyes and ears, isn't it? The support. Yeah. You just get really into the hood of the products, and engineering are so in tune with support to find out what's happening and what's coming back, what's working, what's not. It's an amazing part of a business.
It's fantastic.
Right.
I used to be in sales, and I moved to support. I tell people I moved there to see all the damage I did as a salesperson. But, really, I saw the potential of support. You're literally the voice of the customer. You have more interactions with customers than anyone else in a company if you're in a support organization. And if you can really harness that data and use it, well, you become more than just a support organization. You become an absolute bastion of change for a company, because you're taking all those experience with customers, you're taking that data, and you're feeding it back into all the different parts of the organization to create a positive change that reflects back onto the customer. Mm-hmm. So it's quite a fantastic place to be. And I come from a data background. I worked for a company called Click. Mm-hmm. So I love working with data. I love maneuvering data so we can tell those stories about what our customers are doing out there and use that to improve our products, improve our processes in support, improve our sales mechanisms, et cetera, et cetera. So it's quite powerful when you actually get a hold of it. Yeah. And that's the real reason I went to support.
And can I just ask, see the way that just to verify for anyone who maybe didn't fully realize, but like recruitment people, legal, hospitality, these are all your different products. So hence when you referenced before about the various career changers that, and the product awareness, that's why it'd be really useful now for a technical person to understand these sorts of areas. Yeah.
So for example, these are our divisions, and within each division we have a suite of products. So again, in people division, which is mine, we have payroll. So we have a payroll product that is ours. People in support, customers alike, learn how to use that product. Mm-hmm. But if you come from a background where you've worked in payroll before, or you understand, let's say, Irish or UK payroll deadlines, how people should prepare for that, legislation around payroll or changes that happen with payroll, that's huge experience to bring in the door. We'll teach you everything you need to know about the products, and we'll keep that experience you have up to date as well with various external certifications. We have departments that engage with governments, so we understand the legislation that's coming, so we can be ready for that, advise our customers what that legislation looks like so they're ready, and we make sure people get paid every month in thousands and thousands of industries all over the world.
So your software platform is supporting all this all the time. It's crazy, isn't it? It's amazing.
Yes, it's madness. Technology is quite a thing. So, and again, if you come from a recruitment background, like Emily here, so you understand recruitment, you understand how it works. That's a fantastic experience to bring in, because then you understand how our customers are thinking. You understand what's important to them. We teach you how to use the product to help the customer navigate those products, get the most out of it. Mm-hmm. So any experience you bring gives you just so much more context. And as you can see across our divisions, that's a huge range of backgrounds right there. Everything from technical to hospitality. Mm-hmm. So the hotel industry, the game park industry, we're everywhere. It's a really diversified portfolio, which I think has also cemented the fact that during COVID, this company just continued to grow, and we continued to hire, as you saw, 500 people over the course of the last 2.5 months even. We grow because if, for example, hospitality takes a hit with COVID, people aren't traveling, they're not staying in hotels, they're not out. Mm-hmm. But then people are leaning more on technology. They're leaning more on these other solutions. So actually, if our hospitality business took a dip, well, the other businesses can overperform and overcompensate for that. So I'm not going to say this company is bulletproof, but it's pretty well established across such diversity that, you could literally throw anything at it and it'll still survive.
It's good, well protected.
Yes.
Wow. Gosh.
All right. I'll keep moving.
Yeah, cool.
I'm nearly there, everyone. So again, this is just to reinforce we are cross-functional. So even though you have these divisions, these sectors, support and everything in Customers for Life works across those. So we are functionally working across each division, which means we have a single set of processes. We have a single operating model. We're leveraging all these best practices, and we can scale. So you can continue, based on that, you can continue to add new divisions, but we will keep working the way we work because our processes are generic. We can move easily across all these divisions, regardless of whether it's hospitality or whether it's legal, because support is support is support. So from a process perspective, you're pretty much following the same path everywhere. There may be nuances in, what the impact of a severity 1, for example, is in some area. Severity 1 is when the whole machine is broken. Nobody can work. So obviously the impact in health and social care could actually mean life and death.
Oh.
The impact in people could mean, well, thousands of people don't get their salaries on time at the end of a certain month. The impact in recruitment could be, well, we've lost a bunch of CVs, or candidates have disappeared, or we're not hiring. So you can have a consistent process, a consistent operating model. It's just the impact that could be different. So we're pretty successful in our organization at maneuvering across all these divisions because of that. I'm going to skip that. So let's go to, these are just some samples of some of the surveys that we do. Mm-hmm. So we think about customer effort, because there's nothing worse, well, personally speaking, there's nothing worse than getting a 20-page survey, because about page 3, you're going, oh, why did I even start? So we're conscious of customer effort, but what we are also conscious of is that customer's voice. So at key moments of truth, we are always asking our customers, how did we do? Every time we close a support case, of which we have tens of thousands every year, we ask them, what was that experience like? Every time we onboard a customer, we ask them, what was that experience like? Every time we do an implementation, we ask them, what was that experience like? So they give us that feedback. We do what we call as close the loop with that customer, which means basically we acknowledge the feedback, we talk to them about that feedback, and we even go as far as showing them sometimes how we built it into our roadmap, how we've made a change in a process, or how we've used that feedback to do something to improve ourselves in front of those customers. So this is to reinforce with everyone that if you're sitting in support or customer success or any customer facing role, it is all about the customer. And we listen to our customers and we try to do as much as we can with that feedback that we get. Done.
Wow. Goodness me.
I know. What a roller coaster.
It's a lot of information, isn't it, to condense in
it is, yes.
In a small amount of conversation. But wow. And so this team, obviously, this customer support function operates obviously in multiple different ways, but also in multiple different products. And if not out of Cork, which is where you have your offices, the alternative is that you can do this remotely in different parts of the UK or Ireland. Okay, and that's a job, I suppose, for a whole lot of you, but predominantly comes down to one person, right?
Or in this case, I think 15.
Oh, okay.
So I know we have quite a number of openings.
Yeah.
Across support at the moment, and Emily's going to walk us through some of that stuff. But of course, we're growing all the time, so I already have a good idea of several dozen people that I will be hiring next year as well, because we're just growing as a company phenomenally.
Yeah, those are some numbers. 500 people in 2 months. That sounds like an uphill, very efficient machine that you have there in recruitment. So Emily, talk us through how you're going to do it.
I'm asking myself the same question.
No pressure, Emily.
Like Niall, I'm just in the door. I'm here, I think 3 weeks now. So I'm based out of our Cork office. I'm actually there for the first time today.
Okay.
So I'm handling end-to-end recruitment cycle for all of Ireland. So I suppose I have the advantage of when I oversee everything. So when I get a CV in for, say, like this role, the technical support engineer role, if I think that in the down the line that we might get a role see, there's a few roles kind of sitting in what we would just call approval, where they're not live yet. I know I'm going to put them live at some point, and I'm going to advertise them and everything, but it means I can keep people for roles that I think they might be better suited. So I am at an advantage there, where I'm kind of, the overseer of everything, which is great for me. And, I can recommend, I suppose the thing that we do, which I think works really well, is that, while we're looking for a number of different technical support engineers, I have one ad up where I will send, once I get CVs in, then I'll review them and I send them to all the hiring managers across, payroll, pensions, WFM, and then they can pick and choose from there who they like. So it's great that all the managers get eyes on everything. And, if one manager, maybe even something as small as doesn't see the email, someone can go, hey, I think this person would be actually great for, say, Tim over in pensions. So really, really collaborative environment. And like, that's why I think it's great to even just apply just to get your name in, and we can, because like I said, I oversee every role. So if I think you'd be better for something else, I'll know what that is, and I don't have to, I'll have control over everything from the get-go.
Sure. You'll be able to see the potential from
exactly
the application with like a kind of an all-seeing eye of just how many options and routes there are. Gosh. Okay. So I know that there's a bunch of questions in the Q&A, but I'm going to come back to them in a minute, because I suppose what I'd love to get from your side, Emily, is obviously you're in what is it? Obviously a really, really busy role. So what really helps you when someone's making an application in terms of the basics?
For me, I think everything that you think is not relevant, put it in. Like the smallest things. Like I've previously, years ago, I actually worked with our software before in an old job, and I put that in, and it was just a talking point in my interview, where maybe for other interviews it's not something I would have ever put in, because I was like, oh, it was so long ago now, why would I bother putting it in? But like Niall mentioned, we can teach you technical support. It's that knowledge of payroll and pensions and WFM and that kind of thing, or even just something as simple as, that you can grasp technical concepts really, really quickly. You're good at talking to customers. We can teach you everything, but it's, just the ability to take a lot of information on board, learn a lot about the product, which is really, really important to us. So like, if put in, specifics, things that you think that aren't important from a few years ago, I would just put everything in, because for me, seeing a CV that has, 1 or 2 roles in it, and then you call someone, but they've been working for 15 years, it's like, well, where's the rest of the information,
So even top line, if it's quite historical, even a top line so that you can see at a glance sort of what is the story, what's the narrative?
Summary, because what I will always do is I will look straight away for application support, or I look for payroll or pensions or customer service, those kind of keywords. Just put it in your summary, or like, it's basically a cover letter, but just put it on your CV, because I know everyone hates doing cover letters now, so
no, we love them. We do such, because cover letters are really hard to write, right? But they're so valuable when you're on the other side and you're dealing with applications in a system, and it just puts a character and a narrative to what the actual scenario is around someone's application. It can speed things up.
I would just recommend putting in your own elevator pitch at the top of your CV.
Yeah, the executive summary bit.
Yeah.
And I think I'll just add to it, actually, as an employer, when I look at cover letters, because in Sweden cover letters are quite
really common
as well, actually. A cover letter should always speak to the role. So there are going to be asks in the role, and anytime you write a cover letter, you're introducing yourself for sure, but always remember to tie some of that cover letter back into what the role is about, and always try to hit a company's website, look for their culture and their values, and try to bring your cover letter back to those cultures and values as well, because what you're ultimately trying to say is, hi, here's who I am, here's how I can connect with that job, and here's how I'm a cultural fit. Because you have to be a cultural fit. If you don't like the place you're going to work in, don't work there. And we might have a set of values or ways of working that you may or may not like. So it's kind of important to do that. And if you agree with what you see, tie your cover letter back into those things. It makes a big difference.
A massive difference. And it's really refreshing when you're on the other side, like where Emily would be or where you would be, Niall, when you pick up a letter that has been, we don't expect someone to spend days penning a masterpiece, but that somebody has taken that couple of moments to make sure that they're articulating that this is not a generic, 1 in a million application. This is something which you've put a bit of time into and it makes sense. And they really pop out of a pile, don't they?
Yes.
So Emily, could you talk us through then what happens then in terms of an interview process, or what can somebody expect if they're in the process with you and your team?
So it's actually very, very straightforward process. So you can apply. Normally I'll advertise roles on LinkedIn, and they'll be on our career site as well. And if you know anyone who works at the Access Group, they can also refer you for particular roles as well. They would just need your CV. But as far as the process is, what I will normally do is if we're going ahead with you, I myself would send an email just saying, I'd love to have a chat with you, because I know myself, I don't like getting a call out of the blue. So I like to make sure that someone's free. Then I'll just give them a call. I'll have a quick chat about, salary expectations, maybe your experience so far, what role would you like to see yourself moving into the next couple of years? It's just kind of like an information collecting call. Mm-hmm. And then I will set up an interview with the hiring manager, and I'll set everything up for both of you. And then, you'll click that you're attending. It's normally a one-stage interview process. Sometimes if there's a large volume of candidates for one particular role, it is two-stage, but it would be with a different hiring manager. And we will always have we normally have a technical support engineer also sitting in with the hiring manager. So you'll have, there'll be two people on the interview, but it's a very straightforward process. It's not scary. There's not, 7 stages of interviews. It's very, very straightforward.
I'm sure that's music to the ears of most people listening, because it can be intimidating, right? Stepping into a process like this, and sometimes it just takes so long, and you haven't a clue what's coming next. You're kind of in the dark, feeling around. But that all sounds very efficient.
It does tend to be quite quick as well, which is great, because there's nothing worse than just getting stuck in 5 or 6 stages of interviews and not knowing what how many times can I talk about myself.
And Emily, when we were talking during the week, you were saying as well that this is a really substantial team, and there's a lot of internal promotions from it. So you essentially lose people from this team, but to other parts of the business, saying the Access Group, but you have to replace them. Is there a pattern of where people go internally, or is it really down to the individual, how they develop their career once in?
I think it is down to the individual. I mean, I myself, since I've come in, I know a lot of people have moved maybe across to customer success and, in professional service and that kind of thing. I don't know, Niall, would you maybe have more of an insight on that? But I suppose I'm just working with support, the hiring managers.
Yeah, I forget. It's only been 3 weeks. Sorry.
No, not at all.
So I think you're right. People, it's up to the individual. Our job as the leaders representing this company is to help you on that journey and make sure that you see a journey. You own your career. Nobody else does. So, if you want to develop and you want to move to somewhere, you need to let people know. You need to prepare for it. You need to plan it. You need to time it. And you'll get all the help you need to get you there, and advice you need to get there, and mentors you need to get there. But, you don't sit around waiting for somebody to come along and say, oh, maybe we should promote you, or maybe we should move you over there because we see X, Y, and Z. You have to take ownership of your career and decide that path, or talk to somebody who can help you understand what that path could be. But generally, professional services, development, they're pretty typical paths. I think customer success as well. But for me in support, I like everyone has a view of what support is. It's cases come in, there's a problem, we answer, we close the case, it's gone. And that's a part of it. But for me, it's so much more than that. Mm-hmm. So it's forming and building a digital strategy with our customers, where that approach becomes a digital approach, which means now all of a sudden, I don't only need people who are managing and working support cases. I need people who understand digital, who can help us with a digital strategy. I need people who can work in communities and talk there, which is a whole different skill set in terms of how you convey emotion while writing to somebody, so they don't misconstrue what you're trying to say. It's people who are interested in reporting and working with software specifically around reporting, like Tableau, Qlik, Power BI, adoption specialists, taking that technical knowledge that you've learned in support and becoming a technical adoption specialist, which means rather than waiting for a problem to happen, you're proactively working with customers to get them to adopt the product without some of the pitfalls or gotchas that they might fall into. So in support itself, as we evolve, we create more and more exciting and different roles as we evolve that business into the places that we want to go. So it's an open book. It's really about, do I understand my strengths? Do the people around me understand my strengths as well? Do I have an idea of where I want to go? And what are the key moments that I need to, what are the key accomplishments, moments, or moments of truth that I need to recognize as an individual before I get there? So to become a manager, do I need to work as a team lead for a little while? Do I need to do X, Y, and Z before that happens? Realistically, how long will it take me to get there? And who am I talking to about it? Anytime you move, anytime you go for an internal job application, it should never be a surprise to the person who is hiring. So they should know who you are already. The minute they think they need somebody in the role, they should be thinking about your name.
Yeah.
You should never, if you're in a company and you're making an internal move and you're applying for that role, it should never be a surprise to your manager or to the hiring manager of that role. And that's where planning, networking, and actually creating that path is absolutely critical. And we do that. We call them EPS because we have an acronym for everything.
SaaS businesses on their acronyms, it's like another language. I mentioned before, and it's just really interesting to see how much of what you're saying is it hopefully is becoming really familiar to people as they attend more of our masterclasses. But the one that I referenced earlier about the SaaS business, like lifting the lid, one of the really strong points in that is like, how do I succeed in a SaaS business? And that environment of networking, the environment of cross-functional communication, and sort of observing what's going on in different teams and making it, building your pathway. SaaS, there's so much change. It's so quick. All the teams are so interdependent that's the atmosphere that just exists. So it's really lovely to see that, like literally in real life from you two. So thanks.
Sage advice.
Speaking of Sage, there's a couple of questions for both of you. So will we jump into them, because I know we're coming to the sort of closing section of today. So Pratima was, hi Pratima. So she was curious. I think this came in back when we were talking about your different product kind of stacks. And she was curious to know more about the products that you have around hospitality.
Okay, so customer relationship management, or CRM. Salesforce is a great example of a CRM. So it's where you manage your customers. You have a view on them. If they're giving you CSAT ratings, what are those scores? When do they stay with you? Where are they staying? So if you're a hotel chain, you probably want to keep an eye on your customer base and how satisfied they are with you. Stock management, everything from your beverages to your food. HR and workforce management. So how am I planning my staffing? What's my HR system? So I know people are getting paid on time, that they're at a certain grade and a level. I have emergency contact details for people. There's all sorts of stuff, and it goes on and on and on. Food safety software, hospitality checklists, property maintenance software. So you remove a lot of the administration and paperwork when it comes to maintaining your properties. And of course, hospitality wouldn't be hospitality without reservations and bookings, right? So we have a software for that as well. So with every division, if you go on our website, theaccessgroup.com, you can get into our solutions in each division, and then you'll see the kind of things that we're actually providing for customers out there. And with Workspace, what we're trying to do is put it all in one place.
Perfect. Okay. So, and Pratima had asked another question there, but we'll come back to it now in a moment as well. And Diego, I think this may have been, I think you referenced this already now, but Diego, hi Diego. In tech support, she was curious about the different levels. So obviously you've got so there's 4, I think you said earlier, wasn't it? And presumably
one to 4.
1 to 4. Yeah.
Yeah. 1 to 4, 1 being entry level, almost first line to some extent. 4 being, I've just redefined what a 4 is actually. 4 being, I think in typical companies, 4 is just, you're total nerd. You're absolutely tech spilling out of your ears. And that's the case here too. We want you to understand the products intimately. But in terms of career progression, I've re-engineered that role to not only be a collaborator, an advisor, and understand the tech so you can help your colleagues, but be an advisor to me, be an advisor to the management that says, well, you know what? I understand the products, but I'm also looking at all the case data. So I'm looking for key themes. out in the customer base that tell me where they're having specific sets of issues. I'm advisory, so I'm identifying, but then I'm advising. Well, look, I know the product so well. I think if we did A, B, and C, and we approached our development team about that, we could make a difference here for our customers. But you're also out there in the industry, and you're trying to understand the industry a little bit better as well. So what I'm trying to do there is build a very strong technical resource that's also coupled up with critical thinking, analytical thinking, and business acumen. And because then, from a career perspective, you just open up so many more doors with a role like that as well. And, you know, you become, to some extent, a bit priceless in a company, right?
You sure do. Yeah.
And then, of course, team leaders,
yeah,
heads of support, you know, all the way up to myself. So, you know, it's all just endless possibility.
Wow. So same person, Diego. You mentioned, I think there might be a location in Spain. Now, I know that when we set today up, it was UK and Ireland, but maybe there's something on your site around roles in Spain, or are they different teams that sit there? Maybe Diego can check it out.
Do I want you to answer, Emily?
I'm not too sure about roles in Spain, but I can check it out.
Yeah,
have a look. Yeah.
And
I just don't want to hijack the entire meeting.
Yes, Diego, come on. Now this is Emily. These are probably mainly focused on you and just how you would like people to kind of categorize location wise. So both Miriam and Pratima have questions about location. So I had shared one link. Now I know that you have multiple roles open on the site. So the two questions are: is there a different link to apply to work remotely or in the UK, or should they use the link that I shared?
No, the link that you shared is perfect. There's no different link for remote or anything like that.
Okay, and perfect. Pratima's question is kind of similar, that a few of the roles on the career page say nationwide. So how does this work? I'm guessing it's the same thing, that you're quite flexible dependent on the profile.
Exactly. So those would have been roles that would have been initially uploaded as UK only. So normally they will say which specific part of the UK it's from. When it says nationwide, we're not fussy about where someone is based, and we're happy to share between UK and Ireland as well. So
okay. And perfect. And we discussed this before, actually, well, didn't we? So we know that you have the hubs and the physical offices, and you know there's potentially a big advantage to being close to them and being able to get in front of people and absorb the other teams. But there is the remote option, likewise, to be in the UK.
Yeah, like if you're based in Cork, there would be, you know, an expectation you'd come in maybe 2 or 3 times a week, but that would obviously depend on, you know, like your manager's expectation and their preference. But I mean, like Niall mentioned already, we're moving office soon. There will be, if you're based in Cork, there is a bus stop literally a minute walk away. Could not be better connected, so that'll be really exciting as well. Like Niall mentioned as well, like I work mostly remotely, so there is a lot of people working remotely, but there is also the option, if you're one of those people who likes coming into the office, that you can, and you will be tied to an office based on your location. But if you're not living anywhere near it, you're not expected to be, you know, traveling 3 hours a day or anything. You will be primarily remote.
Okay, perfect. That's again Christiana. Hey, Christiana. So Niall had referenced about the Access Group HQ in the UK. So I guess the big answer here is that there are multiple locations. Today we're really kind of looking at hiring in the UK and Ireland ones. So Cork if you're in Ireland, but you can also do it remotely. But really, it just sounds like you guys have become so flexible based on the people-centric part of hiring as opposed to the location part, if I'm hearing all of this correctly.
Correct. Absolutely. Yeah. And you know, I'm relatively new, so I'm taking a good look at employee experience, how we onboard employees. So absolutely, I couldn't care less if you worked on Mars. You know, as long as you're happy doing it and you're contributing. But in time, as I see how things are going for us with onboarding, with employee experience, it may be that for onboarding, we might bring you to that office location for a week at a time, maybe, or a couple of days at a time, so you actually meet the team. You actually get some hands-on training to really get you off to the best possible start you can get. Because let's face it, it can be pretty bloody boring spending all day staring at a screen, reading papers and watching 2-hour videos of, you know, press this, do that, go there. So it's, you know, it's it's about how we want to mix it up and how you understand people's learning styles, and how we can adopt and change and sidestep around all that stuff, right?
Yeah. And it's really interesting. We've seen just so many companies like that just being really aware of the, like you said, the experience of people, how you sort of absorb yourself into a business and that learning process. So there's a lot more flexibility really, isn't there? And sort of responding to just what's your scenario, what is it that you need, and let's figure out a way to make it happen. So brilliant. Another couple of questions there. I know we're coming close enough to time, and there's a really good one there from Fiona, which I never thought of asking actually, which is unlike me. But so thanks, Fiona, you got my back there. So given that it's support, so obviously your customers are going to be using this all the time. What's the story with kind of the shifts and the working hours outside of your classic Monday to Friday 9 to 5?
So that's probably me.
Yeah, okay.
we work a standard UK Ireland business day.
Okay. All right. So it's not a weekend scenario. No.
Okay. Obviously, we're growing. We're getting more and more global. So I think, I'm actually in Loughborough in the head office today, speaking with the rest of my global counterparts about, do we need to now start thinking about our language support and about our maybe 24/7 follow the sun type of model. So actually we're having those discussions, but in terms of UK Ireland and remote working in those places, it's a standard day.
Okay, so you can tell them that Fiona wants to know as well when you're good on you, Fiona. And then Ambrose actually leading on is curious about your future business expansion plans. So you've conquered Europe and Asia. Any plans for Africa? You'll have to wait and see.
I don't know if we've conquered anywhere yet, but we're conquering.
Who knows? The sky is the limit. The sky is the limit, Ambrose. Okay, amazing.
It was up to me, yes, because I desperately want to get that.
You would love to be there. Yeah. That would be a nice part of the working week. Yes. But look, I know we're literally coming up to time, so and I'm conscious of yours. So thank you both for coming to talk to us and tell us all about these. One important kind of practical question: we've shared these links. Emily, what are the timelines? These roles are open. It sounds like, given the scale, that these are repeat hires. They will remain open. But do you have a deadline? Have you any advice for somebody who's really keen?
I don't have any deadlines at the moment. I would get it in as soon as you want to get it in, but I would sooner rather than later. I do check applications every single day. Okay. So as soon as you send it in, the wheels will start turning. So make it sooner rather than later.
Brilliant. Okay. And like I said, all of the links are there. This has been recorded. So look, we'll all be keeping in touch, everybody. This is our first event together. So again, brilliant to get it kicked off and launched. I would imagine there'll be a lot of interviewing going on after this. So let's keep in touch and see what the outcomes are over the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, and I don't think we mentioned it, but we build a lot of our stuff on SQL. So if we have folks on the call or folks listening to the call later on, that industry experience, fantastic. If you know SQL and have worked on SQL Server, in combination with that, apply today.
You just became a unicorn. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, lovely. Well, look, to everyone here, thank you so much for joining us. Good luck with your applications. If you need any help from us in Careers, just drop us a line. You know where we are. Emily and Niall, thank you again. Enjoy your afternoon, and we'll all be in touch over the next couple of weeks again. So thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks
Have a great day.
Everyone.